Hello, 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 everyone. How is everyone doing? Mike Arnold here, co-founder, Path Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino, who will be here tomorrow afternoon. By the way, I hope some of you checked out the new edition of the Jim Iurio Futures Edge podcast. Let me know what you think of that. How is everyone doing? Another day, another rally? We're going to close and hit that. I mean, I think the Dow already hit the 200, but the S&P and NASDAQ going to hit that 200 simple before, sooner rather than later? Sooner than even I thought. Hello, Lauren. Hey, Vin. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Amit. Hey, Mike and crew. Mike was watching a video on trading around a core position, assuming once that their share count for the core position, guidance on share count to take off 4-hour, daily, weekly. It depends on how active you are, how big the ranges you're using. Like if you're using ranges and key levels based off 4-hour and daily time frames, you'd be taking it off on the 4-hour and daily when it hit the key levels. If you're using huge levels based off daily and weekly time frames, you'd be more geared towards the daily and adding and subtracting with big daily or weekly reversals. I know people who trade around a core position based off 1 and 4-hour time frames. So they're always, but that's shorter basis. So it really depends. I mean, I need to know your time frame, the ranges you're using, how active you want to be. So that's something that goes into consideration with that. There's not just one rule of thumb, but what I do is if you're using stuff on the daily, you're gonna be more active based off your daily and 4-hour time frames. If you're using the key levels based off the weekly highs and lows, then you're going to be more active on daily and weekly time frames. Hello, Josh. What's the good news? It doesn't matter what the good news is. You rally the market on anything, just like your NAHB. Again, every little bit of bad news is getting shrugged off, and we didn't expect this to do anything because we're in bull mode. 49. Oh, by the way, Amit, I did see your question. I was going to review some of that today with the long-term system flip and how that's looked in the past. Rich, glad to have you. This price action reminds me of December 2021 price action. These low volume pumps are funny, but the downside will be huge. NASDAQ will visit the four digits. Yeah, I tend to agree with you longer term. And this is just, we're getting into over exuberance mode again. But it's summer markets, call buying's going through the roof. Valuations don't matter anymore. So just get to ride it higher and wait for some bigger reversal signals. That's all you get to do. Hello. Time to short SPY tomorrow. I don't have a good long-term or even a medium or even a short-term topping pattern. We could get one overnight. This is why people were shorting today. And this is why I got to wait for the breakdown levels. And even with some breakdown levels, unless we get severe momentum coming into them, you can get a lot of sticking and stopping points. Also remember it's X week. Okay? You got to watch for, especially with the big gamma strikes. Well, as we close into Friday, we could get hold up. We're also in positive gamma. This number hasn't updated for today, but positive gamma means you start selling into rallies, you start buying into dips. So it's a dampening effect, but you can still get decent rallies, but the dips can get bought into pretty aggressively to rebalance the portfolio. FOMC, by the way, still 60-40, and you see everything but oil, which we covered with the slowdown in China and that pullback to retest the last week's lows. We had that. I mean, other than that, you had a pretty decent day. But, these valuations are going to get stretched again, especially going into Q3, Q4. We're going to get even earnings guidance. Everything's getting out of whack, but that doesn't matter. Things get out of whack for a lot longer than you think. Let's take a look at the calendar for tomorrow. This won't matter. It's going to get shrugged off. So you got your building permits and housing starts. Red Book will get shrugged off, but that's interesting because it's not inflation adjusted. So do keep that in mind. It's interesting because consumers get contracting a little more and more. Industrial production, 15 minutes after our live stream starts and 15 minutes before the open, minor. So tomorrow's another very minor day. Not a lot I see to move it. Although we do have before the open, this is going to be more important. Walmart and Home Depot before the open, so don't be caught off guard. I'd recommend checking in for those. Even if you don't trade those stocks, check in on the earnings and check in on the price action, because that will be a good gauge to see the tenor for the day. And then same thing Wednesday with Target and Lowe's. So here we are. I'll review a couple things also. Let's see. Good evening, Anissa. Go all in. Well, see, George, now you're putting me in a bind. I was going to say, based off Amadeus's time to short, we'll go up tomorrow, but now you said go all in, so is that the top? All in short, let's go. I'd wait for, again, we're in the raw markets. We're in very overbought conditions right here. We're back daily, massively overbought. And cycle's getting a top. Could we easily push and tap this 200 this week? Yes, we could even tap it tomorrow theoretically. And look, there's no topping. There's no topping position. There's maybe on the 15-minute. You can go off this little mini double top. But is that could unwind tonight? That's not, that's a short-term top. Don't mix short and long-term tops. This is not valid, by the way. By the way, little momentum. Here's the key thing. I'm just going to show you something that I like to watch for when you get this breakout of that thing and you get some decent momentum, especially going into the open. And then you got the nice little pullback, 50 to 62.5 area, and the reversal back up, and then the launch codes. And you know how I like to watch for those reversals, 50 to 62.5, unless we get the momentum and it bases along here above the 25%, then I watch for just a breakout play. Just wanted to reiterate that. So you got to see those. That's the only thing. If you're wanting to watch for a top right now, for overnight, it'd just pretty much be a return to the key little breakout areas. And that's it. Is that a long-term top? No. Could something turn into a bigger top? Yeah, but you don't have a great topping pattern. So again, with we're in overbought. We've blown off divergences from before. Weekly cycles have been pinned for a while now, and we're hitting weekly overbought. And that's in a bear market. Even when they get overbought to this level in a bull market, you at least get a sideways, if not a pullback. But we haven't had anything so far. It's just in full-blown juice mode. Now, I am watching for that bigger pullback. I am watching for pullback trades, but they're short term unless we get some significant momentum to the downside, which we don't have yet. I wanted to review, let me just get through the NASDAQ and the Dow. NASDAQ hitting the next harmonic area. So next key move higher, that's on the weekly. You can see it though right here on the daily, this 13,713. What do we hit the high? 13,706. I'm pretty much, we'll probably push and bump that tonight. Next key area I'm watching 13,900, 13,916, then 14,004 to reconnect with the 200. Daily cycle's not at the top. We still do have a potential divergence, although if this plows up to the 200, that will probably be a race too. You have anything on here for the short term? No, you don't even have a decent topping pattern here. You don't have anything. Does that mean you can't get a sell-off? No, you can get a sell-off. There could be shocking news that comes out, but 13,583 would be the first pullback zone, and then 13,493 to 13,500. That's why even if you were trying to shorten here, you have a lot of stopping points. So you can get the bounces because it's still buy the dip mode. That's why I caution against trying to call a top. You're better to wait for the real breakdowns. Everybody's still trying to call the top. That's why I can't get out of we could see this continue to plow higher. And your major support, it's above there now. I mean, your major support was back at 13.5 and you're trading almost 13.7. Dow hit the 200, hit the next harmonic. Next level beyond that's 34, 140, 131. Pullback. Earlier we had a potential, but that didn't go. And then same thing, this was actually the pause. When I show you, that little pause. So this went a little beyond the 25, I mean, unless you just use the momentum. But this is the kind of thing, I don't do the pullback, the breakout bar. The breakout bar. You see, you got to wait for the breakout bar, but there's the breakout bar, and then you ride it higher when you get this little pullback that doesn't hit the 50 to 62.5. Yeah, you have a little sloppy double top, but that wouldn't even be a pullback to the breakout area. So not even going to bother with it. So if you're watching for levels overnight, if we do pull back, your major levels are to these pullback areas, that breakout area from today. And that would essentially be the 1 hour of the bottom of the rotation zone, and based off the 4 hour, the top of the 4 hour rotation zone. So that's your key pullback level. Russell, above the 200, next key level, 2039, and then 2075. Should hit the 2075 statistically. Let me go back real quick now, because I talked about those long-term systems flipping. In the S&P, let's go in the Wayback Machine. Wayback Machine. Way back machine. Okay, this was the bull market. See, none of these, even on pullbacks, these never flipped the system. What I'm thinking of doing is I'll just record something. If somebody wants to, I'm going to have to add to it over time, but if somebody just wants the generic rules, I'll just put something up in the next few days for the percent B and for this system. And then it's not going to be deluxe fancy, but I will get the rules out there. And then I'll just add to it over the future. I'm getting enough people wanting to know what this is. So if you want it, let me know. It's not going to be like hours of recordings. It's going to just be the down and dirty rules so you can start playing with it. But here, you're tipping in 2000, 2001 into the bear mode. You see? Bear mode, bear mode, bear mode. Pretty much stayed in bear mode. Now, 08, here's the only thing. In 08, finally tipped into bear mode, or actually in December 07, tipped back into bull mode briefly. You got essentially 4 weeks of sideways action and then tipped back to bear mode. So if you went to bull mode, and this is what I'm saying, even this, you're cautious. Again, we speculate, we don't accumulate right now. But that was the same thing. I remember this in 08. So this pretty much kept you in sideways to slightly up basis for 3 weeks. That actually didn't tip it it tipped it closer to here. Or 4 weeks, and then you were back in full-blown bear mode, and you caught the rest of this. And then in 09, it tipped back to bull mode in July. And you rode it here. You got a little head fake right here, but then, then you got to ride it. I mean, none of these tipped it into bear mode. This didn't tip it into bear mode. You essentially rode it for a long, no bear mode signal there. Little pullback here that kept you out for nearly 2 months. And then you're just riding it higher until this little sell-off in 19, and then you're back in and you rode it higher until COVID, and then you were out for a bit. But what it does is it keeps you on the sideline. So can it go choppy to up for a few weeks? And that's what I'm expecting now. And it will give us plenty of time to get back into short mode, and we may get other short signals like double tops or something else before, and then it rotates into bear mode. And then we get to ride it to key down levels. So that's why I don't worry about this. So I could stay for the next 4 weeks in bull mode. even with a pullback. Now the NASDAQ's interesting. The NASDAQ, no bear mode here. Where did it tip to bear mode? It tipped to bear mode right around in here. And bear mode, bear mode, bear mode. Riding it all down. Never tipped into bull mode. Never tipped into bull mode until 03. But right here, this I think did, no, it didn't trigger it. I don't have the data. One of these did trigger it on a different, this got pulled up more, but something did trigger it with a quick little whipsaw move, if I remember correctly. And then it tipped back into bear mode. So there's a little, hey, it's bull mode for a few weeks, and then back to bear mode, and then it rode it all the way down. In 08, you had bear mode, got a little, here's another example. Shift to bull mode. Shift to bull mode. In here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then it shifted back to bear mode. Got a little head fake there, but then your bear mode riding it all the way back down. So there was plenty of time to shift back. So don't be worried about missing a few weeks, especially you're not going to sit and long-term accumulate, especially off of valuations. You're not going to sit there and accumulate. So that's why, you know what, this keeps me slightly bullish at this point, targeting some key prior height price action, and then we'll get signals to tip back into bear mode. But unless you're worried about top ticking, which you're not going to do anyways, you're not going to top tick a movement like this. And if you say, look, I'll sell this 15-minute double. Let's say this 15-minute double hit, and then we crashed, theoretically. Like we were down 1,000 points in 4 days. Something happened. That wouldn't be because of this 15-minute double predicting anything. This 15-minute double predicts a pullback to 42.81. If somebody were to short off this and we then went into full-blown crash mode, let's say something happened in the world, unexpected, and we went into full-blown crash mode, this 15-minute double would not have predicted that. You would have just been in the right place at the right time. Let's say you just triggered and then all of a sudden we were limit down tomorrow. Would that have been predicted by this? No. You just happened to be in a short position when something happened. Don't mix those things up. Like, I knew people were short around September 11th, 2001. And they're like, yeah, look, my system called this top. It didn't call 911. You just happened to be short when something really bad happened. Okay? So I've seen people get in on like a double bottom on a 1 hour time frame in 2009. They're like, yeah, I called the bottom. No, you bought a bottoms pattern that just went on to rip your face off, and you were out before it kept going. You know, you were out at some point. So don't mix up short-term and long-term moves. Where do we sit? Short, what's a short? We're all in TomTom era now. I mean, I love these values. These valuations are going back through the roof. It's fantastic. Yeah, you're welcome. Got this feeling you'll get a rug pull at some point. You got to wait. We're getting back to sentiment being nearly full-blown greedy. Full-blown greedy. We've gone from full-blown fear in the streets to full-blown greedy in oh, stop. In what? How many weeks? How many weeks? Well, this was full-blown fear. And in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, well, essentially 2 months, we've gone from full-blown fear to full-blown greed. It's fascinating. There are gaps, and they'll get filled to the downside. And that's, yes, current rally on the weekly looks more vertical with no pausing or consolidation. And this is what you get right now. We're in that mode. There are no more dips in the market. And this is where people go. This is why it's getting back to greed mode. And people are just throwing in the chips. They're like, hey, it's just going to keep going forever. I don't want to miss out. And you don't have to miss out. I'd trade the short-term movements, but don't get married to positions. Again, I'm seeing that this market's too disconnected with reality to short right now. And yes, that's true. And at some point, it will reconnect with reality. But I'm hearing the mantra again, the mantra. Fed's gonna pause, pivot, whatever you're gonna do. I mean, I'm even Jim Iorio saying they're going to. I think Bob convinced them to use the pause, but he said they're gonna hike one more time, then pause in September. Okay. If they pause, then the Fed is essentially done. Yeah. Then if they did a pause, then it's we'll just ride this to new highs by the end of the year. And then you'll still get times to get in. So don't worry about missing out something. There's always, put the probabilities in your favor. That's what I'm going to keep saying. Yeah. Tricky markets to trade if you don't follow the patterns probabilities. That's what you got to do. And well, the patterns and probabilities comes from price action. I love the Wayback Machine. Yes, percent B in rules. Okay, Mike convinced me to wait for a good topping pattern. See? I don't even need to get into some of this. Let me just get into some other stuff real quick. DAX, then we'll get to some other questions. DAX, still stalling against the harmonic. DAX, you do have a potential double, long way off from triggering, so that's something I'm just keeping an eye on. Notes, nice little flag pattern on the short 1 hour pullback. Still can't see this reaction. Still no key close really above that 1928. That's the level I'm watching for another potential breakout play to the upside, but it's still in chop. Just like there's a lot of now support coming into the downside in the financial futures, there's some key resistance that's got to chew through before we get into full-blown bull mode. Back on the notes. Crude, little bounce off of last week's lows, but no great patterns here. Cycles at the top, so I'm still watching for at least it to test a breakdown to some of these other harmonics. What else do we want to look at? Dollar index, we got the aggressive buy on Friday and breaking above that 106. There's still some major resistance up here, but this would be a great area to raise a stop from an aggressive buy. And your major topping area has to get back through is 107.41. The VIX, again, we started breaking down, filling the gap, and we just stayed in bull mode all day. So nothing else there. Cannot, anytime into daily rotation zone, rotation lower. So for a longer term stuff also at this point, if you're really watching this, you see how we've stair-stepped down. Rotate everything into the rotation zone is just a rollover play. So at this point, you'd really have to get above a 22.25. Now this will keep coming down, but until you're getting a key close above 22.25, it could just be a short-term pullback. Bitcoin, even with NASDAQ, Bitcoin looking like crap. By the way, this potential double never triggered, turning into a triple. But even with the NASDAQ rally, Bitcoin cannot get any traction above this 25K. So I'm really focusing on the rollover move. But until we get a substantial rollover in risk assets, I'm not risking anything to the downside. 22.6 is key support. Tesla in go-go mode. By the way, there is that other shorter term double got stopped after it hit the first target. You do have a long term double there, but that would need a trade below 838.06 before it's even confirmed. I'm still watching now for that close above 953.58. If we get that, then we could eat to the statistical targets are up above 1,000 again. Let's see what else. ILMN for Connor. Would you check out I swung puts targeting 220. My stop is 230. On the short term, because you had that little double, which was hit on the gap to the second target and then just a strong reversal there. So that you could not have played it because it already came to the first and second target, which means that's off the table at that point. ILMN, you have puts at 220 with a stop at 230. Okay. I mean, I don't have a great topping pattern here or anything. After this, I mean, it wouldn't be my trade. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You got major support at 220, but I don't have a lot of. Where's my line? That's a pretty significant level right there at 220, but I don't really have a great breakdown play off of this rip your face off rally with the gap fill. So I really don't have anything. I mean, earnings miss, gap down, triggering that double, and then just a complete rip your face off rally again. I I can't short anything like this. Again, you got no PE. It's just a junk garbage stock that is going to get these insane moves until everything rolls over again. So these are the kind of things I would not stand in front of. I don't need to call tops. There'll be plenty of rollover plays and stuff like this again. But nothing, I don't have a play in that. Nothing. Let's see where. I like Josh's call. Why so bearish, Thompson? I say SPY 5,400 by December. Let's WPY. I'm like, why are you so bearish, Josh? How about 54,000? Hey, my call is 1,000 in the SPY before it hits zero. By the way, the next target, as I've said, is at 200 on the SPY 431.48. For anybody wanting to know. What are we talking about with the big short? Am I a joke to you? VIX double bottom on daily chart. That looks to be a little too far off at this point. Well, at least I have a stop. Yes. Again, and it might work, Connor. I just don't have a pattern. And if I don't have a pattern, I can't give you probabilities. Doesn't mean it won't work. I just don't have something. So if I don't have something and I'm not seeing anything in the price action at that point, it would just be, from my perspective, a gamble. Doesn't mean you don't have an entry signal. I just don't. If I don't have an entry signal, I'm not going to pretend I do. That would be inauthentic. I'm not saying it won't work for you, and I'm glad you have a stop. That's the one thing. I'm glad you have your target and you have your stop. Could gap down from 1010 and open 990. What, and not hit my target? And miss my target both sides? Well, technically, if it went to 1010, that would go through my target. My target would be hit. Then it would hit 0 first. You guys. All right. I'm not seeing anything. Let's just check in on. There's just. Ugh. Really? Where do we sit again today? I wanted to look at the strikes. 42.94. So we're closing in on 4,300. We could actually pin 4,300 by the end of the week. Let me check something here. I'm just looking at the 4,300s. 4250. Oh boy, look, we got a ton of call gamma there. Look at that call gamma. If this thing holds up, they're theoretically, look at that. That's what I'm looking at. There is tons of call gamma, and that could explode if we're hovering around 4,300 Thursday, Friday. That can explode and make it really interesting on Friday. And we're still early. It's still Monday. But look at this magnet point, since we're essentially getting there right now. So we could rally a bit more, pull back. Maybe tomorrow we rally up. We pull back Wednesday with the FOMC meeting minutes. But look at this. With this much juice, even the 75s, there's a lot of juice in the 50s. We're way beyond these 4,200 now with this rally today. So there is a ton of call juice up here. So that could get interesting going into Friday for a dampening effect. You're welcome, Amit. 4,370 and turn back to 3,400. What's interesting is if we get a close below 43.68, we statistically favor higher prices again. So it's going to get interesting. I'm really thinking that we're going to pause out at the end of this week after we hit this 200. I think there's just a massive push towards these 200s, which we did hit in the Dow today. So we still got the NASDAQ. Now I'm more focused on the 200 and the S&P, but if we could theoretically push that tomorrow. All right. So let me know, by the way, if you want bare bones, the rules for that long-term thing in %B, just the bare bones rules, email me at the Support Path Trading Partners email address and let me know. Okay, and with that, I'm going to wrap it up for now. And I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Thank you for tuning in. I will see... thank you, George. I will see everyone tomorrow morning. And enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.